crap, guys. Whew. That Mandalorian season finale. Ooh, boy, howdy. So this video is basically going to be a short little video just talking about my thoughts about the season finale. And whew, boy, was it a doozy. I mean, let's be honest. It was basically just like 40 minutes of fan service, which, fine by me. But also, it had like a actually good writing structure too. It wasn't just straight up, stuff. But anyway, let's just start from the beginning. So first of all, I think around the time Bo-Katan was actually introduced in this series, I was hoping, like, by the end that the season finale was going to show Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and Boba Fett and maybe Ahsoka, which wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense. But I was kind of hoping like all the cameos or special character appearances. I hoped like all those characters would show up in the finale, and I was really happy at the beginning of this episode when Boba Fett and Din Djarin went to, if I forget the planet's name, but they went to that planet and they found Bo there, and they basically like recruited her to come back and help them, which I thought was awesome. I thought it was really cool that they all teamed up together at the end and went to go find Grogu and get him back from Moff Gideon. That was so cool. About the episode when Boba Fett was first introduced, with his armor and everything, I know somebody I know was talking about how he thought that Din was going to use the Beskar spear. No, actually, I'm wrong. He actually said this when the episode when Ahsoka was first introduced and Din Djarin first got the Beskar spear. He was saying, "Oh man, I bet that Din Djarin's going to use that spear to fight Moff Gideon, who is the Darksaber." And I thought he was right, but a lot of people on the internet were saying that by the time the Boba Fett episode rolled around, and it seems like they were right. It was a little bit predictable. At the same time, it's like one of those things that's predictable because you want it to happen. You thought it would be a really cool duel to see Din Djarin fighting Moff Gideon with that spear, and it was a shorter confrontation than I expected, but we know why later because the actual finale was whew. But yeah, that was a really cool fight, and Din Djarin actually used the spear pretty effectively. I was kind of surprised how well he battled with it, but I guess I shouldn't have been. He's a Mandalorian, the Warriors, and honestly what surprised me most was that Moff Gideon wasn't as good with the Darksaber as I expected. But yeah, it was very cool. Just that whole battle, that whole team up between Cara Dune and I keep forgetting Ming-Na Wen's character, but I keep forgetting her name, but her and Bo-Katan and the other female Mandalorian, them all teaming up on that ship to just take down all those stormtroopers. That was cool. That was very cool. Very cool. It reminded me slightly of that moment in, I've said this before, but it reminded me a little bit of that moment in Avengers Endgame, where they had all the female heroes just kind of team up in the end battle for no reason. It was supposed to be girl power, but it didn't work because it was so forced. And we saw something like this in The Boys, where they had all the female hero characters teaming up to beat the crap out of Stormfront, and it actually worked really well because you liked all those female characters. They were set up well. They had they were very well developed. Their characters were developed. They all had cool powers, and you hated Stormfront, and you really wanted to see them beat the crap out of her. And that was a cool moment where you were just yeah. And same thing with this, where all these characters like Cara Dune and Bo-Katan and all these characters, those characters especially, were all had a lot of character development. Bo-Katan and the Clone Wars and Rebels, and then Cara Dune just since season 1, and seeing them all team up, we already knew they were all badass women, and then seeing them all team up to do that, which is very cool, and all the fans liked it because it was well done. It wasn't forced, so very awesome scene there. And then later, I thought what I thought was odd was how the whole thing with Din Djarin got the sword from Moff Gideon, and now Bo-Katan can't really have it without beating Din, even though he wants to give it to her, which doesn't make it 100% sense. I haven't seen I haven't finished the Clone Wars in its entirety, and Rebels I've only seen bits and pieces, and I've looked information up, but I know at the end of Rebels, or towards the end, that one Mandalorian female character who's in Rebels, I don't remember her name, but she gives the Darksaber to Bo in Rebels, as far as I know. But for some reason in this, Bo has to get it, actually get it in combat, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It seems like they kind of added a rule for no reason. Either that, or for whatever reason, Moff Gideon, somehow humiliated her when he took the sword, and she basically has to get it back by like trial combat or something in order to restore her honor, something like that. I don't know, but it seemed a little bit out of left field, that rule, but it'll definitely lead to complications in season 3, I assume. But let's talk about that final whew, that thing that like everybody thought might happen but didn't actually expect to happen. Because I, for one, I think in about halfway through this season, I think about the episode where Ahsoka was talking about a Jedi coming to get Grogu after putting Grogu on the Seeing Stone. I was thinking, like, what if at one point, I was thinking they might bring in like another Jedi, like Cal Kestis or something. And I was like, but I was thinking they wouldn't actually bring in a Jedi till like season 3. I was assuming this season would just end with, them getting Grogu back from Moff Gideon. But I was thinking in the back of my head, I was thinking like, it'd be kind of cool if they brought Luke into like season 3, and then like they introduce him and then have him. I was kind of expecting to kind of like have Luke, have a bit of a minor role, kind of like Ahsoka did in the one episode, and then him end up taking Grogu. But I expected them to maybe do something like that in like season 3. But then that one single not TIE fighter, that's one single X-wing flew into the ship, and Cara Dune's like, oh man, we're saved. But like all the Star Wars fans were like, is it Luke? And then as soon as you saw those dark robes, as soon as you saw him show up, you're like, it's Luke. And then we saw, this is the green lightsaber ignited. You saw his gloved hand. You knew it's freaking Luke. And damn, we have never seen Luke that badass in live action. Let's be honest here. That was a really well done scene. Just him like cutting all those dark troopers down. In that one scene where he like just used the Force to just crush that one, that really showed how powerful Luke is. I feel like the older movies, which I get it, they're limited by their time, but the original trilogy never quite showed how powerful Luke should be, considering he's the son of Darth Vader. But that really showed how powerful he is. That was cool. I really loved that scene. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with, the whole actor part of it. I didn't expect them to do the whole de-aging CGI thing, especially considering they've already done that in, Rogue One, and got a lot of flack for it. But, I guess it worked. I would have hoped that they would have cast somebody, but it made sense for just, like, having one scene with him. They only had, like, that one scene where you actually saw his face, so it made sense they wouldn't hire one actor. If they do a whole series, which I've heard there's rumors they are going to do a whole Luke series, it'll make sense for them to cast an actual actor instead of doing like the DH CGI, because it's just not perfected. Like, it looks weird. Like, it works for small scenes, where there's not you're not like building a whole narrative around them. But even in that scene, you could tell it was CGI, and his face didn't move properly. It looked like a kind of like a deep fake or whatever. And it looked like, compared to the rest of the faces, it looked almost like a really good looking video game or something. So they obviously still have not perfected that technology, but it was still freaking awesome to see it, and it's still obviously Luke Skywalker, and it was cool they actually brought back Mark Hamill for the face and I think the voice, and they had another actor do the body, like be the body double. But just that whole scene was so cool, and it was so cool to see Luke, and I think it's really smart for them to bring him back. I know a lot of people aren't super happy about it because they're like, oh, it's too predictable or whatever, but it's what most of the fans wanted, and it makes the most sense because he's the only Jedi we know of that actually trained people after Return of the Jedi. So, I don't know. Anyway, and then that final scene with Grogu taking him away, like, it's sad in two ways. One, it's sad because he was a major part of the show, and Din, obviously felt like a father figure to him. So that was really emotional and sad. But it's also sad because when you think about it, it's kind of scary because, didn't Kylo kind of kill all of Luke's, apprentices and take the rest with him? So let's hope something bad didn't happen to Grogu in 30 years or 20 years, whatever. On a lighter note, Boba Fett, apparently that show's coming out. That's very cool. And, they had that whole cool scene at the end. It seems like he basically just took over Jabba's palace. So what, is he like the gangster is he like the crime lord of Tatooine now? That's interesting. And I think it's pretty cool we're getting a series from him. At first, it wasn't clear whether there was going to be like a series or, season 3 of The Mandalorian, but nope, the Book of Boba Fett is an official series. They've officially announced it like today. It's officially going to be a series on Disney Plus starting in December 2021, which is super cool. Like, there were rumors that they were going to, make a Boba Fett spinoff, but then they didn't announce it the other week during, all their other Lucasfilm announcements. But I guess they were saving it for the show. Very cool. I'm super excited. for that, definitely. Like, I was hoping ever since Boba Fett showed up, I'm hoping he either becomes a regular on The Mandalorian or they make a show of him. I guess they're making a show, which I think works better because he's such a popular character. And isn't it interesting? Like, for years we were told by Lucasfilm that they're gonna make a Boba Fett movie, yada 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 yada, and they find that they didn't. Then eventually it got to the point where, like, no, we're just gonna make a Mandalorian series with a totally new character. Everybody's really disappointed, but it ended up being an awesome show. And then they brought Boba Fett into The Mandalorian. People were like, wow, no way. And then now we're getting a series of Mandalorian. So we basically went from, like, getting a movie of The Mandalorian to now we're getting a series, which I think might be better because there's going to be more time to explore his character and everything. But, yeah, anyway, I'll stop blabbing. The episode was awesome. It sucks we have to wait till next year. We have to wait, like, a whole year for the Book of Boba Fett. But, oh well. It's still going to be... It'll probably be worth it. And then we got all these other shows coming out. Obi-Wan series. And I guess... The only thing that's weird is season 3 of The Mandalorian was supposed to come out of December next year, according to Kathleen Kennedy. So either they're going to have the Boba Fett show and Mandalorian going at the same time, or she was not telling the truth. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, we're getting Book of Boba Fett next December. I'm hyped. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. And be sure to check out our other videos and check out our podcasts and our Patreon. And be sure to check out the Instagram. That's where where I post most media and stuff. That's where we're most active on Instagram. So be sure to check that out. And be sure to check out the Casual Experts Facebook group and Twitter. All those links are in the description. And I will see you all soon. Thanks again for watching.